Welcome to the Trellix Spotlight series. My name is Nick, and I will be your host. Today's session will focus on an overview of Database Security's virtual patching functionality, or vPatch. This webinar will be recorded. If you prefer not to participate in the recorded session, please feel free to disconnect at this time. A link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This webinar is a brief overview covering common use cases and scenarios regarding this topic. It is not intended to be all-encompassing. If assistance is needed, please contact Trellix Technical Support. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A window. This webinar may run longer or shorter based on your participation, and we recommend asking as many questions as you can to make the most of this series. If the Q&A window is not displayed, click the tab at the bottom of your session window and click on the Q&A icon. We will answer the questions during the final section of this webinar. If you experience any audio issues during the webcast, please drop and attempt to reconnect. Our speaker today is Leonardo Vargas. Leo is an experienced and visionary cybersecurity leader with over 20 years of expertise in cyber defense, information security, and security architecture. He is passionate about aligning security strategies with business goals, ensuring that security measures are both robust and strategically integrated into an organization's overall objectives. Throughout his career, Leo has been known for his innovative approach, staying ahead of new threats and trends in the cybersecurity landscape. He goes beyond just meeting current standards by proactively adapting to the changing threat environment. His expertise isn't limited to technical skills. He also understands how security fits within the bigger picture of a business, using his knowledge to create a strong link between security initiatives and business goals. Ladies and gentlemen, Leo.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trellix Spotlight series. Today, we're going to be focusing on database security, and more so specifically on the vPatch module. My name is Leonardo Vargas. I'm the Senior Manager for Solutions Engineering in Canada. So with that, let's talk about how Trellix database security helps defend databases and the information that they contain. So let's start with the challenges that we see our customers facing today and that we've gotten from the field. The first one is definitely the insider threats. We see that there's multiple breaches that have occurred in multiple different environments, and these breaches were either accidental or they were intentional. And you can see here that there's a high percentage of this. It's 76%. Not only that, but there's also 35% of CISOs that we've interviewed have considered regulations and legal landscape a top challenge for them. Then again, there's multiple compliance standards that they need to abide to depending on the vertical, whether if it's PCI, if it's HIPAA, GDPR, so on and so forth. So ensuring and maintaining that that compliance across the board, as more so specifically around their databases, is top of mind. And finally, there's a big data expansion challenge. You know, we have that that based on the reports that we've seen here in either the Verizon DBIR in 2024 or from the Cybercrime magazine, is that by 2025, the global data storage will reach 200 zettabytes, which is a massive amount of data, which only means that as the data grows, not only from a global standpoint, but from within each corporate environment, then it means also that our protections around that data have to grow as well. So as you can see here, that 72% of organizations reported being affected by ransomware back in 2023. So then again, as you can see, ransomware is always top of mind. From what we've seen as well is that the reoccurrence of ransomware from a previously hit organization is always top of mind as well. There's a big analysis behind the fact that if you've been hit once by ransomware, then chances are that you might be hit twice or even thrice. So with that, this is where Trellix database security comes into play. You can see that before having Trellix database security, then you might find yourself on the left side here of this slide, where one, you might find yourself being unprotected from a database standpoint, and your sensitive data or information might be exposed. You might also have unrestricted user access which means that you don't have the necessary controls to be able to track users or admins in your database properly or adequately. You also have unpatched, misconfigured databases, this is where we're going to be focusing on today's session on the vPatch module and how this could potentially help with this particular line item. But also the lack of compliance reporting, right? So as we go through the presentation, as I go through the slides, you're going to see how we address some of these issues with Trellix database security. So how do we help? So first of all, databases and sensitive information can be discovered. I'm going to dive into this in a bit further in the next couple of slides, but we have the ability to not only scan for sensitive information within your database and the database tables that we are monitoring, but at the same time, we're also able to give full visibility across the databases within a particular environment, a network of an environment. Not only that, but we can also help with ensuring that only people with the right access to the databases are actually connecting to the databases and executing specific statements or specific actions around those databases, as well as the applications that are being used to access those databases. Thirdly, we can help with the scanning, patching, and securing the databases in a very fast manner. And finally, helping with the speed of and simplification of compliance reporting. So you can see that after having our Trellix database security product implemented within your environment, then we will give you full visibility across all of our supported databases, which is a very long list of databases there. We also provide the ability to secure any sensitive information within your databases. We're going to help you with meeting compliance standards. And finally, we're going to be able to monitor any type of data events and address these in a timely manner as well. So when we talk about our Trellix database security offering, from a module perspective, or from a pillar perspective, or from let's say a feature set perspective, I would say that these are the three pillars, modules, or features that comprise our Trellix database security product set. The first one being virtual patching. This is definitely the highlight for today's Spotlight series. What is virtual patching, right? Pretty sure you've heard this term before in either different types of technologies, but what do we define as virtual patching for Trellix database security? So essentially, vPatch or virtual patching is used to protect databases from unknown and known vulnerabilities without downtime. It helps you stop intrusions and other exploits that are targeting your databases. And also, you're able to get extra security when patches are no longer available for legacy or out-of-date applications. So essentially, by having our vPatch rules in place, then that allows database administrators to have a longer time frame to be able to deploy the actual patch from the vendor. In this case, let's say if it's Oracle, or let's say if it's Microsoft or SQL databases, because we understand that installing a patch, whether if it's a service pack, if it's a hotfix, then not only do you have to take the database down, because it's typically you have to install the patch, you have to reboot most likely not only the server, but also most likely the database services. And that could either take some time, that could impact your database also, because you have to make sure that the patches are being tested and whatnot, right? So having a virtual patching feature in place is definitely key for this particular scenario, because it allows you to be protected against the exploits or the vulnerabilities that the actual patch should be providing the database, without really having the need to deploy the actual patch, right? So essentially, you're protected, and that gives you a little bit more room to breathe to schedule your patching installations whenever the organization or the database team feels like it would work best for them. But in the meantime, you're protected against attacks for that particular database. Then we have vulnerability management. This is another module that allows us to not only find databases and sensitive information, but also having the ability to identify and prioritize vulnerabilities, and also get detailed remediation advice, right? So there's multiple types of scanning capabilities here. These scans can be scheduled. You can schedule them, at a specific point in time, let's say during the weekends, late at night. And depending on the scan, you can look for either misconfigurations, missing patches, vulnerabilities, weak passwords, among other things. And finally, we have the database activity monitoring feature set or module. That this is kind of like the main, I would say, like the core, module for the product, which basically allows database security folks to monitor, log, and control database access in real time, and also identify and block potential threats before they can introduce any sort of damage to your environment. And finally, help you with any sort of auditing or compliancy requirements for your databases as well. There's other two modules that are not highlighted here, but I think it's important for you guys to know that are also part of the I would say the broader solution set. One of them is the application mapping feature. This allows us to basically map all applications that are being used to access your databases in a timely manner, right? So you understand which application is being used through, let's say, which IP address, which user, what is being run through that application. And this allows you to understand how users and or administrators are interacting with your databases, right, on a daily basis. Based on this information, then it makes it easier then to basically create policies to either just monitor or to, let's say, block any sort of applications that are not really approved to be used to connect to, let's say, a database, a managed database. And then the other module that is also very important to highlight here is the rogue database detection module, which allows security administrators to basically run scans, then again, also in a scheduled, timely fashion across your environment, looking for databases that might not be a registered or managed database. Then again, going back to that insider threat challenge, then this could help towards that, because if there's a bad actor within the environment that is using, let's say, for example, an Access database, they're using a MySQL database, or they're using a Sybase database, and they're trying to establish an OLEDB connection to a production database to extract data, then we would be able to highlight and expose that database, and then you would be able to then create policies to be able to block any sort of connectivity from these rogue databases that are found within your environment. So then again, and all of these modules comprise really our overall database security product set. Everything's packaged up within one single technology. So then again, it's a one-stop shop for all these things that I just mentioned, right? But then, the million-dollar question, right? Why Trellix database security? It's mainly because of three main things, right? One, because it allows for organizations to implement security at scale. It doesn't really matter if you're a small shop, if you're an enterprise customer with thousands of databases. We're not only just able to manage, your massive amounts of databases, but we're basically able to scale up and down depending on your needs and requirements, right? So therefore, we're able to provide all these feature sets that I mentioned across different types of organizations, different types of architectures, whether if it's cloud, if it's your own private cloud, if it's on-premise. We're able to scale according to the needs and requirements of any organization out there. And not only that, but also we're able to support multiple databases, and of course, protect the sensitive data within these databases as well. The second big thing here is the optimization of resources, the ability to manage events and automate previously what are considered to be previously manual tasks, and of course apply extra security for out-of-date databases. That is key. This is where vPatch, the vPatch module shines. We've had tremendous positive feedback from multiple organizations across the globe, saying that the vPatch module has been a saving grace for them because they still have legacy databases that may not be supported by the vendor, and they're of course out there unprotected because there's no newer patches being deployed to these databases. And this is where vPatch shines, and this is where vPatch can add that extra layer of security even for these out-of-date databases, legacy databases, and of course it goes without saying, the newer databases as well, right? The newer versions of the databases. And finally, protect what matters is definitely one of the big things. We have exceptional visibility with our product set. This is where database activity monitoring comes into play, where you have the ability to go as granular as you would want to get to the level of detail required to make policies to either block or monitor or just log the information as it flows into your environment to ensure obviously compliance, right? So then again, we would say that Trellix database security is supported by experts who can speed up time to value and optimize the potential of your technology investments. So with that being said, then again, our Trellix database security product set is part of our data security portfolio. So you can see here that our data security portfolio is very broad. We have technologies that cater to different areas within the data security space, products such as data loss prevention. We have products such as data encryption, such as disk encryption, file folder encryption, removable media encryption, and of course, part of this data security portfolio within Trellix, we have database security as well. So you can see that depending on how you want to go about your data security journey, Trellix can definitely meet you where you need to be. And depending also on the use cases that you want to cover, as you can see here, if, let's say, for example, insider risk and threat is top of mind for your organization, then we have a broad data security portfolio that can help you cover that particular use case or challenge. Same thing if for GRC, if GRC, governance, risk, and compliance is top of mind for you guys, then we have a full product set that would enable you to be compliant. And same thing with, if you have an expanding information footprint, then we also have specific products that can help you towards that. And then one of the big things that I would like to mention here as well is that as an added value, then we also have the integration with Sky High Security. They're considered to be our sister company. So therefore, we have complete device to cloud protection for all things data. So this is just a screen to highlight the vPatch rules module or section. I'll dive into the vPatch module in detail once I get into the demo, but this gives you a clear understanding of how it really looks like and how it works. So you can see that out of the box, we have 712 rules, and these rules are basically created to protect against specific either threats, exploits, attacks. For example, you can see, rule 200, that is for failed logins. This could basically indicate, let's say, as an example, a brute force attack. So then we have a signature that allows your databases to be protected against brute force attacks. And then again, right, SQL injection type of attacks. We have signatures that are specific to one type of database. You can see here that, in the column where it says installed on or actions, you see that some of these are applicable to specific versions of Oracle. Some are applicable to all Oracle versions. and some of them are also applicable to all types of database management systems. So then again, these vPatch rules, they can be catered to a specific version, to a specific type of database, or it could be broad, right? And not only that, but then again, you can see here that they have different types of severity levels, and they have different types of actions. By default, all of these are configured with a alerting action. So essentially, we're just going to monitor the trigger of that alert or that vPatch rule, and we will just basically alert the database security administrator here that, let's say, a brute force attack has been found, and then with the X amount of severity or X level of severity, and from there, then the database security administrator can then decide to either block or analyze further to see if maybe another policy has to be put in place. Like we mentioned, this is one of the other key modules is the vulnerability scanning modules. You can see here that we have multiple tests, like I mentioned, that we can run against different types of DBMSs. For example, here you're seeing different test categories like the patching. We can look for specific patches. We can look for configurations or misconfigurations. We can run OS tests. And like I mentioned, we can also schedule these scans to be ran at a specific point in time. These could be, at, let's say, during the weekend, late at night. You have that flexibility. We provide that flexibility for you to get specific information. And then again, on either specific databases, all your databases, specific versions of databases, so we can go as granular or as broad as required. This is an abstract of the database activity monitoring portion of the product, where you can actually see here the level of detail that we provide for each alert. So you can see that we provide the user, we provide the operating system user, the SQL statement that was or the statement that was executed against that database, and the rules that also triggered that particular event. And then finally, for the risk and compliance, portion of the product, which is then again one of the challenges that we highlighted. If this is top of mind, then we have a breadth of different types of regulations that come out of the box. PCI, HIPAA, GDPR, SOX. So then again, we make it easy for database security administrators here to create policies that are specifically catered to any of these different compliance standards. And last but not least, I think that what's always top of mind for CISOs, for SOC managers, for managers, directors, is the reporting aspect of a technology. And of course, we have a centralized dashboard where you can actually track what's happening within the environment. And we have multiple reports that can be generated, that can be scheduled to be sent out through email. You can modify them, you can duplicate them, you can create your own if need be. So then again, from a reporting standpoint, the technology offers a very broad a module that could give that visibility into any particular environment. So with that, let's jump into the demo so we can go in further detail into what Trellix Database Security vPatch can offer your environment. You can actually see, we're going to go over 4 major use cases. One is how to download the vPatch rules automatically. Second, how to download the vPatch rules manually. How to verify if there are any vPatch rules that have been found within the environment, because then again, you have to make sure that if there's a new vPatch rule that that you're able to then get notified accordingly and then act on updating your vPatches. And then finally, because we have more of a responsible approach to our technologies and how we deploy updates and within any given environment, then how to then also roll back an update that has been applied, a vPatch update that has been applied, in case that, for whatever reason, you have to go back to a previous version. So then again, coming up next, we have these demos, and we're going to cover these 4 major use cases. In this demo, we're seeing how we can do an auto update with Trellix database security for our vPatch rules. So as you can see here, the first thing that the analyst is doing or is able to do is basically double check and see the notifications or the messages, which basically tell them that there is a security update available, which in this case is the version 99-3133. As you can see, it also includes all the details for that particular update, the CVEs that it includes, among other relevant information that could help the analyst understand what they're trying to install. The next step is to go to the Update tab, click where it says check for vPatch updates. As you can see here, right now we have the version 98-3120, so that's the previous version. And you will see that as soon as we check for new vPatch updates, then it'll then prompt us for the latest version that is available automatically for us to download from our Trellix download site. And then from here, the analyst can review the information, the details again, and then click where it says install. So as you can see here, the console is preparing for installation. Then is basically going through the installation process, which should take a few seconds, really. It's a very fast installation process. And after this, you will see that we will get a notification saying that the update has been applied successfully. So at this point, we can close this view. And you can also check and see that the updates history has now been updated to reflect the newest version of the vPatch rules update. You can see that now it showcases there the version 99-3133, which at this point, then you can safely say that the vPatch has been not only updated, but also installed and applied properly. In this demo, I'll walk you through the process of how to install manual updates through our database security console. So the first thing we do is go to the Updates tab. And then, as you can see here, we have an option that says for offline installation, upload an update file. You can click on choosing the file from where you can then select the downloaded vPatch rules update. Then you click where it says update. And then, of course, you get a warning ensuring that you're ready to make that update or apply it. From here, the analyst can then review the version of the update that is going to be installed, as well as the details regarding that update, so which includes all the CVEs related to that update. And then, of course, all of the vPatch updates are cumulative, which basically includes all previous released versions of the vPatch rules. At this point, we can click on install, and you're going to see that the wizard will showcase the process of installation. And this should take no more than a few seconds. As you can see here, we're installing the version 99-3133. And then at this point, we should also get a notification saying that the update has been applied successfully. And then we can double check and see that, that the update has been applied via the updates history in the back, where it actually showcases the version 99-3133. So with this, we conclude our demo on how to manually update our vPatch security updates. In this demo, I'll show you how to verify and check for messaging or notifications about when a vPatch update is available. So as you can see, we have to log into the console. We'll click on the Systems tab, and then under Messages, you can actually see that there is a notification stating that there is a new security update version available to download. So from here, the analyst can actually see the details for that update, what it includes, what are the CVEs included within the vPatch update. And of course, from this point forward, it'll prompt an action, which would be to either install the vPatch security updates either manually or automatically. In this demo, I'll show you how fast and easy it is to basically roll back the installation of a vPatch security update. So what the analyst will do in this case is first log into the console. Once the analyst is logged in, then they can go to the rules tab. From here, they can go into the rule revisions tab for when they can see all the different revisions of the applied rules. From here, they can checkbox the vPatch rules, go to the properties, and they can actually see that there are, some applied vPatch rules here, and they have the option to roll back to a previous version. By clicking on the rollback of the previous version link, you can now see that we're back to the 712 rules that basically state that we have been successfully rolled back to a previous version before we actually applied the latest update of the vPatch rule security updates. As you can see, very easy to do, and we are ensuring that analysts have the ability to roll back to a previous state in the case that the business or that the organization requires to do so. This concludes our demo. Thank you very much. And I'll hand it back over to Nick for the Q&A.
Thanks, Leo. As a reminder for everyone, Trellix Education Services offers exceptional training to go along with our award-winning products. If you would like to learn more, please visit the website listed on your screen to see all of our offerings. Are you wanting to learn more about upcoming Trellix product features and innovations? Join Trellix technical experts in a weekly 30-minute Tech Talk webinar series. Every week, you'll get a peek under the hood at Trellix technology and see a short demo spotlighting key capabilities from across the industry's most comprehensive portfolio of cybersecurity solutions. Now let's get our Q&A session started. I see we have several questions, but it's not too late to add your question. Please type it in the Q&A window to submit. Additionally, take a moment to fill out the survey. Your feedback and suggestions are always appreciated. Can Trellix Database Security show revisions and/or audit of who applied vPatch updates?
So yes, I can take that there, Nick. This is Leo here. So yes, the revisions are shown and tracked for both custom rules, which are used for database activity monitoring, and they can also be tracked for vPatch rules, which is what we discussed during the Spotlight series. And then auditing is provided for all vPatches that have been applied. So you're going to see that for every single vPatch that the administrator decides to download and update, then it will track who installed the update at what time. And then, of course, from there, the administrator can decide to either keep the update or roll it back or leave it as is, right?
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one, Leo. Can vPatch updates be scheduled to be automatically applied?
Yeah, so we have multiple ways in which we can apply vPatch updates. One way, which is manually, right? So we have the ability to basically download the vPatch update or file from the Trellix download site. So at this point, for a scenario where the organization is, let's say, running on a siloed environment or a air-gapped environment, then we can definitely download the vPatch update file and manually update the vPatch, right? And add it into the console and update and deploy the vPatch. The second way is automatically. So essentially, we just basically, let the console update the vPatch rules automatically. Or we have the ability to schedule the updates as well, right? So we have the ability to schedule, for the updates to be applied automatically, let's say on a Friday, on a Tuesday, depending on the needs and requirements of the organization.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one as well, Leo. It looks like that's all the questions that we had for today's session. I want to thank everyone for joining today's webinar, and a big thank you to our speaker, Leo. As a reminder, a link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This concludes today's webinar. Stay safe, everyone.